Straight away from here to here was divergence. And then what do we see when it comes through to the shark fin? This is how it makes it a little bit easier for us because we're looking for a certain type of setup. When we see our shark fin right over here with that divergence that did occur, you can see the huge breakout that happened.
Started from the bottom like Drake. Got that young ruler, but I learned my mistakes. Climbing up the ladder, gotta watch out for the snakes. If you wanna be the boss, then you have to delegate.
Hello guys and girls and welcome back. It's your boy Big John. The at's at the bottom of the screen if you'd like to listen to my new single Power and all the relevant information I'll be speaking about in this video. And today what I'm going to be talking about is how you can use divergence and the TDI to find nice simple entries into the market to find good, consistently profitable trades. So I hope you're going to like this one, guys and girls. Let's get straight into the video. So if you'd like to get into the Neo competition, what you need to do is head over to my Instagram page, give me a follow right here so I can see that you followed me. You need to go to the last post I have put up here, give it a like, also give it a listen to. It's the newest single that I just released, Power. Just give it a comment, Neo competition. And 2 lucky winners will have the chance to use Neo for the month of March. So people might be asking, what is divergence? The next thing you might be asking is, what is a TDI? Well, this is the TDI and who it's been created by. What we're going to be doing is just going through this whole strategy, back testing how you would be able to find these trades. So let's start with the first trading opportunity. And we can see from this section here, this was a nice trade for us to be able to take a divergence sell. You might be asking me why? Well, if we do look at the indicator here, we can see that there was previously on the TDI a nice shark fin here, and then we can see going into the next day, even though we didn't start from this section, we can still look previously because the chart can show us that. We can see the next day we didn't get a shark fin re-entry until over here. So when we got this shark fin re-entry over here, and we can even see the market had created a lower high, we can see that the TDI from here had created a lower high, but here going up to here, price was creating. So we can see when it came into this day here that this was a divergence entry. Our main confluence of that was the shark fin, and to see what we saw previously before that shark fin occurred. So this was a good indication to tell us that this was a nice pullback and possibly a shark fin entry. When we go over to this trade over here, we can see clear as day that this was a double bottom pattern. So this is a lot better for us to be able to see. And then if we mark this out on the TDI going over to here, as we can see here, so there was a discrepancy between price action and the TDI itself. And then when we saw this, we saw a nice continuation of a huge buy up here, which you would have been able to catch. Some days you're going to get a lot better TDI divergence than others. Some days it will be kind of weak and it won't be good enough. Remember, trading is built up between you either winning a trade, losing a trade, break even on a trade, or actually being flat, meaning you do not come into the market and take a trade. We had our first spike even out of the TDI right here, and then from that spike out of the TDI, what we do manage to see now is we see price keeps buying, buying and buying. We can see that the TDI is not really doing too much here, and if we do mark ourselves a nice level from here to here, we can see the TDI created a double top, which is 2 higher highs. And then what we did see here is we saw price pulling up more. So as we're seeing price pulling up more, but the TDI is literally staying within the same area, so it didn't show that it was following price action. And we saw a nice entry when the shark fin came out of the TDI here for an entry into this pair. I will be showing you the settings for the TDI at the end of the video, so make sure you watch all the way through, so you're going to be able to find out the settings for the TDI. So now we can see as we go further down what we're looking for. We're looking for our next divergence pattern that may occur. So in this trade, it didn't give you a divergence pattern here, but it did give you another shark fin re-entry here if you wanted to take that trade right over here. Now we're waiting for our divergence to occur, and we go forward. We can see there's 2 taps to the bottom, but what we see in the TDI doing here, we see that on the TDI there was a divergence pattern between here and here. So you could have entered here and held the trade if you wanted to, but we're waiting for our next shark fin to show us that we've got a nice good pullback re-entry into the market, and our next shark fin re-entry happened over here. So you might be saying, why would we take that trade? I mean, it didn't look like it was part of the original divergence, but look at what happened with price. Price had continued to stay creating a lower low tap. As we can see, 1 tap, 2 tap, and around here was about the 3rd tap. It was not buying up and it was not following what the TDI was actually doing. So that means that we would have been looking for some type of explosive move that might be happening. And here we had our shark fin on the TDI and an entry, and we was ready to take price to go up further. So you can see on this day that not too much happened. You might have got stopped out with this candle depending on where your stop loss was. But of course, if you'd like me to make a stop loss video and a risk management video on gold, then all I would need is 100 likes on this video and 25 comments saying you would like to see the video. Moving on, we're looking for our next entry into the market. So we did have an entry here, and look, price did buy up towards this area over here. So and it did continue to even buy up more. A good exit, as I did say in the confluence list, is when you see price coming out of the Bollinger Band on the opposite side. So what can we see here? Let's break down this chart. So we might not have been looking for a re-entry into the market here. As we can see, the TDI did come out here and it did come down here, but price had followed exactly what the TDI did. So it wasn't telling us that was an entry, although it did draw out a W pattern on the TDI, but it wasn't showing us that was an entry. Look right here and look at the TDI, and then we look over here what happened, and then we look at the TDI again. So when we get our trend line tool, you can see straight away that the TDI created a double bottom, and look at the trade that happened afterwards. You had a nice clean trade that went for the buy all the way up to this level here. Again, a fantastic trade for you to be able to catch. So of course, everything is not going to be perfect when we're talking about this strategy, and I want people to know I am not cherry picking anything, because you can clearly see I'm only paying attention to what my TDI is showing me as the market's moving. I am not paying attention to anything ahead and being, okay, you can take a trade here. No, look at what the TDI is showing us. So we can see now we're looking for a new divergence. We can see that there was a higher high up here. Now we're looking for a lower high on the TDI, but for price to be going up more. When we do mark this out here, let's see if we see something here. So we have seen price had created a double top. We have seen the TDI has created a lower high, but what we haven't seen here is the trade we wanted to be able to take. Of course, they would have stopped us out in this trade, or it would have been in a position where you would have still been holding drawdown, just depending on where your stop loss actually is. And we can see what happened the next day coming in, the trade did actually occur. So it wasn't really a bad trade. The only problem with it would have been you would have had a 2 type stop loss if you lost the trade, or they just decided to continue the manipulation because they wasn't ready to do the move that we could see occurring with the divergence. And straight away, you can see the next day, what did price do? Price did sell. So when I'm looking at it, I can see from here to here isn't divergence. And then I'm looking to see if we do see any other divergence. No, price is going up. Remember, I'm paying attention to the TDI and what price is doing. I'm not looking forward and saying this is a perfect trade for us. We can see from here to here, price is going up. The TDI is going up, does pull back down. What do we see here? Price is going up. The TDI is going up. What do we see here? Price pulls down. We're looking for our next divergence. So now we're starting to see something. I can see the TDI staying low, but price is starting to buy. It did have a shark fin here. So I'm starting to mark out what I see, and I'm looking for my next shark fin. And from here to here, we can see we pretty much had a shark fin. And what do we see? The TDI did a double bottom right here. Price from this level here, all the way down to this level here, where we can see the next possible shark fin. We have seen a discrepancy between the TDI and price. And here's where your entry would be. You can see it crossed over, boom, you would have got in here and been able to hold this trade. Nice, beautiful, perfect, clean, as you can see. So you just have to be in a position where you're patient and you're reading the divergence. This is not something you're going to get immediately if you've never traded divergence before, but you can take the practice and the time out. And also, as I'm showing you now, you can back test this as well. You can back test it with the replay mode on if it makes you feel any more comfortable. But of course, in this video, I am trying to make sure people can understand clearly what I am saying here and how this can actually help you with your trading. I do trade gold with entries on divergence a lot. I can just use it through different time frames other than the 15-minute chart. This is what I will do. So I can wait for my setups and see divergence occurring as an entry on a 4-hour, a daily chart, and then be taking a longer swing trade. So again, it's down to the trader, and this is showing you how you can basically find intraday trades doing this, but you have to practice it. Just like any strategy, can't come in here, think you're going to watch one YouTube video and you're going to master it overnight. You have to practice every strategy. Now, we don't really see a divergence here. We do see a double top, but we don't see a divergence at this point. So it would have been a nice trade for you to be able to take here, don't get me wrong, but right now this is basically just a perfect M pattern that had been formed, and for anybody this would have just been a resistance level here, and you would have had a shark fin re-entry TDI here. So you can see that's very nice and clear right there. Whether or not you did take this trade was down to the trader, but of course it wasn't a clear enough divergence looking pattern for us to be able to enter based on a 15-minute time frame. Now when we look for our next divergence, we can see that price has found a low point here, so we're trying to see if we see some type of divergence. Where is our next shark fin? So from that area, look, from this area all the way to this area here, now we can start to see our divergence forming. And if you want to bring the divergence in even closer, when you start breaking it down, even though you're seeing that and you're waiting, because remember, you got to wait nicely for your shark fin, we can see right away here that there was a divergence from here to here on the TDI. Remember, the shark fin was here originally. We're just seeing multiple versions of divergence. It can happen when they're really consolidating price and making a decision. This is when you tend to see them making multiple versions of divergence, which does fake out some traders. But again, this is why I say you need practice. You can see straight away from here to here was divergence. And then what do we see when it comes through to the shark fin? This is how it makes it a little bit easier for us, because we're looking for a certain type of setup. When we see our shark fin right over here with that divergence that did occur, you can see the huge breakout that happened. Now go back for a second and watch the chart. Now before the huge breakout happened like that, you've got to see that we was able to take trades within here. But if you did lose any trades, it's because of course you cannot see the future perspective. All they were doing with price is consolidating the market for days. So for at least 4 days, they just consolidated the market. They never really trended this market. So when it did come to its final version of its divergence over here, this is why we saw the huge breakout happening over this side. A nice start of a shark fin from this level here. Then what are we waiting for? We're waiting for our divergence. We can see the shark fin entry right here. Again, you would have been in on this exactly when the TDI turned to the red color, and then you would have been able to catch this beautiful sell going all the way down. Where you're looking to come out of this trade, you could have come out of it here, or you saw this first exit point right over here. If you did want to hold it better because you was good with trade management, then of course you had another exit right over here at the bottom, as you can see. If you have any problems with this and you would like more videos based on this, let me know. If not, you can always come into my Discord and I can be able to try and explain it to you a little bit better. That's what the Discord general chat area is for. If there's something on YouTube I've explained and you want to know a bit better about it, you can jump into there. If you feel like that's still not enough for you and you really want to, take this serious, then I honestly suggest you jump into mentorship, because that's when you're going to get the best and the most of my time. I'm in the markets 3 to 5 days out of the week, explaining things or setups to traders and trying to show them how they can trade the markets better and what would be more acceptable as trade setups that they can take and ones they should kind of leave alone. It's just getting everything right. It's your trading, your strategy, your risk management, and also your psychology, most important. On that note, guys and girls, I'm going to leave it here. As you can see, that was a nice explanation of how you can catch these beautiful trades on gold and how you can make between $10 to $1,000 a day if you're able to catch these trade setup. Like I've said so many times, everything takes practice. Do not be lazy. Do not be lazy. I'm watching you. Don't be lazy. Do your due diligence, back test just like I have done, and I'm able to show you these things, and hopefully you can catch some of these pips. Peace. Okay, so as I promised, these are the settings for the TDI. You can see that the generic settings for the TDI are here. Nothing has been changed in the input section. When I went over to styles, just because I've got a white background, I'd like to be able to see certain things that I've got on my chart. So what I did do is I changed the RSI color that was green to blue so I could see it better. As you can see, the background for the uptrend is green, so I didn't want that to be an issue. And what I did do is I changed the 50 trend divider to a yellow color just so that I can see price crossing through. And then I did change the sentiment line to a black color so I can see when the sentiment line crosses from an uptrend to a downtrend on the TDI as well. Just gives me a bit of a confluence just to see what type of trend we're in, not necessarily something you have to trade with the strategy. So this is all the settings for the TDI. I hope it helps people out a lot, and let's catch these pips.
Started from the bottom like Drake. Got that young moolah, but I learned my mistakes. Climbing up the ladder, gotta watch out for the snakes. If you wanna be the boss, then you have to delegate.